Morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Measure Ups, episode 4. Episode 4 is what is fortitude, fortitude, and how do we measure it biblically? So Second Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 through 11 says this. We are hard pressed on every side, yet not crushed. We are perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted but not forsaken, struck down but not destroyed, always carrying about in the body the dying of the Lord Jesus, that the life of Jesus also may be manifested in our body. For we who live are always delivered to death for Jesus' sake, that the life of Jesus also may be manifested in our mortal flesh. So, what is fortitude? Chances are you can look in any biblical translation and not find the word fortitude, but you will find the word courage. And fortitude is simply a synonym of the word courage. And when most people think of courage, they think, and rightfully so, they would think people of the military, men and women who join the military and risk their lives for the love of this country, for our freedom. Our first responders, the police officers, firefighters, ER nurses, doctors, and so forth. And it does take courage. It takes courage to stand up for your spouse, to stand up for your principals, to stand up for your children. All that takes courage. But what we're looking for today and what I'm speaking about is biblical courage. We often hear phrases like come to the cross. Or Jesus says in the Bible, pick up your cross. And we hear these things and we just, it kind of goes over our shoulder and bounces off of us. It's just another phrase as we're here. But when we think about it, when you think about it in context of picking up your cross or coming to the cross, think about it 2,000 years ago. The thought 2,000 years ago when Jesus was crucified to pick up your cross was something unbearable. It was really brutal, humiliating, and it meant you was coming to certain death. So when you think about it, Jesus was crucified on a cross, died, was buried. 3 days later, he rose again, and then he was seen by people, seen by the two guys on the road, seen by the disciples. And then we get to the book of Acts where we say he was seen by thousands of people, 3,000 people, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. It's early in the morning. But essentially, that's the beginning of the church. And these people heard the words, the phrases, pick up your cross or carry your cross. And that was just an unthinkable thing. It was something that they didn't really want to think about because they knew the brutality, the humiliation, and the certain death that came with that saying, pick up your cross or come to the cross. Again, we've never witnessed that. So when we hear die to ourselves or pick up our cross and die to yourself daily, most of us tend to think of going to sleep and just never waking up again. But the reality of it is picking up our cross is a brutal thing when the phrase was first brought into existence after Jesus was crucified. Again, very humiliating, very brutal, very torturing, bloody, and it's just something that would make your stomach turn if we saw it and witnessed it today. So when I talk about biblical courage, that's the kind of courage I'm talking about. When I say pick up our cross, we need to have the fortitude and the courage to pick up our cross daily and die to ourselves, not peacefully die, not go to sleep, close your eyes, and wake up a new person, but be ready to brutally and humiliatingly die to ourselves and to be born again into Jesus each day. And that's the kind of fortitude, that's the kind of courage I'm speaking of here. If we can do that every day, pick up our cross and follow Jesus, we have the courage to do that in that sense and think about it that way, to brutally and humiliatingly die to ourselves the former person we were, even yesterday, and be born again new each day. That's courage. That's biblical courage. So today I won't be long. This is going to be short. But what is fortitude? What kind of fortitude you have in a biblical sense? How would you measure your fortitude? Again, of course, stand on your principles. Be courageous to help your neighbor, to stand up for your children, stand up for what you believe in. But really measure, when you really measure your courage, your fortitude, I want you to think about it as picking up your cross and brutally dying to yourself daily and giving your Lord to Jesus Christ. If we can do that each day, everything else is going to be a little easier. It's going to be easier to stand up to opposition, to the temptations of the world, to Satan's temptations, to stand up for our principles. And all that comes along with it, stand up to the world that fights against us. So again, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8 says this: we are hard pressed on every side, yet not crushed. We are perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed, always carrying about in the body the dying of the Lord Jesus Christ, that the life of Jesus also be manifested in our body. For we who live are always delivered to death for Jesus' sake, that the life of Jesus also may be manifested in our mortal flesh. And people, that's the courage that we need. That's the courage we need to measure ourselves by, to get up each morning and to brutally die to ourselves and pick up our cross, face that humiliating, brutal, torturing death that Jesus faced, and to live our lives for him, to study the Bible, to get with him in prayer, and just to go closer to him so that so he can be manifested in our mortal flesh. That's what it takes. So again, when you hear these words, pick up your cross, come to the cross, don't let it just pass by and rub off your shoulder and say, oh yeah, and think of it in a peaceful death, but think of it in a brutal, something that takes courage to get up in the morning to do. Because I can promise you, if you are believing in Jesus Christ and you get up each day and you die to self, it is the hardest thing you will do each day, because again, it's the thing that you got to do alone. Nobody can come with you. It's something you need to face each day on your own. So again, pick up your cross, die to yourself, pick up your Bible, study his word, get some alone time in devotion. And if you do these things each day, I can promise you, I encourage you to do these things, because it'll just make each day a little better. Each day will be better each day, and we'll be one step closer to heaven and one step further from hell. Again, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. I love y'all. I struggle kind of doing these things, but I think I'm getting better. A little bit of fortitude, because I get up and I die to Jesus each morning. Again, I hope this helps somebody out. Gets them a little driven for on the right path this week. God bless. Y'all have a good week. Bye.